Hello, Mr. Blank. Hope you're sequestered and safe at home today.
I sure am, like everybody else, Kurt. Nice to be with you today.
Looks like you're about to have something good to eat, but I know that all of the people listening today are really curious to find out a little bit more about the Tower Garden. But I just thought before we started, because a lot of them know me, a lot of them know you, but some don't. And I just really wanted to tell them a little bit about your background. You're welcome to tell them some more. But Tim and I have
Sure.
become great friends. He is, first of all, he's a great dad, a great husband to his wife, Jessica, and they have two beautiful daughters. And they're both very talented, especially some of them have some amazing artistic talents that I've experienced firsthand. But Tim's done some pretty cool things in his life. I guess my daughter is 24 and she would go to Disney World, 10 times a year. I'm like, why do you want to go there again? We've already ridden that ride. But she's the most concerned right now because in our sequestering, our Disney World trip got canceled. But Tim did spend 12 years at the Land of the Living, or the Land exhibit at Epcot. Actually,
Yes.
started there in 1993. And he's done some amazing things in terms of research and growing. And I think if I tell you just a few things, you're going to not only love what he's going to share with you, but maybe just respect his knowledge a little more because you know from where he came. He's done research for NASA. He's done research for the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Energy. And one of the coolest things is he was responsible for this 5-acre greenhouse that had over 100 different foods from around the world. And they used every known form of hydroponic farming to grow these different foods. So to say he understands hydroponics is an understatement. To say he understands what we're going to talk about tonight is a huge understatement. He does have a degree in horticulture, but I actually think his experience probably is even more valuable than his degree because he's been hands-on doing this stuff. A few years ago, him and his wife, Jessica, they founded a company called Future Growing. What a cool name. Kind of the future of how we're going to grow food, the future of how we're going to eat kind of fits. And that company was bought out and merged and is now what we know as the Tower Garden Company today. So that's kind of where we got to where we are today. And Tim still serves a very vital and active role. He's on the board. He's he's a co-founder of this whole Tower Garden concept, and he is our chief technology officer. And maybe you think of that and you think of internet, but this product is simple, but it's complex. So Tim, just so we can kind of get the big elephant in the room out of the way, this crazy COVID-19 coronavirus has caught us all by surprise. How's it caught you and Jessica by surprise down there? What's going on with you guys?
Yeah, I think it's, caught everybody by surprise. For those of us that are up to par with world science, we all knew that this was a possibility, but I think it happened so fast and it caught a lot of people off guard. And for us, our life didn't change much. We have a supermarket in our house with a vertical aeroponic tower garden. So for those of us growing in tower gardens, we haven't had to go through what a lot of people are going through with lack of produce or waiting in line for produce and food safety, some of those things we're going to talk about. Life just kept on going relatively normal for us. And it's, for many in our company, it's an opportunity to rise to the challenge and help other people have food sovereignty using the same technology that we are right here.
I know you're blessed like
way,
I am, even though our business is multinational and global around the world, just like we're on Zoom right now. You and I kind of were already used to having a home-based business that was a hub for a big business. That's become new to a lot of people. I know our Tower Garden has meant a lot to us during this crisis as well. We didn't really violate social distancing because they had been quarantined, but we have college-age kids and they had some of their friends over because we're at a lake with a pool and boats and jet skis and they were all bored. So we gave in and let them come. And we were feeding, I think, 8 people the other night. And we just went right to our Tower Garden, picked our salads. And the cool thing is as much as I'm washing my hands, squirting sanitizer, all those things, I didn't even have to think for a minute about who touched that lettuce, who touched that spinach. Where did it come from? I knew that it came from my sunroom with my seeds and my plants, and nobody had touched this but our family, and we had grown our own food. And it was kind of a peaceful kind of feeling.
Yeah. Well, we've always been about food safety, and you know, because every year just in the U.S. alone, 3,000 people die from foodborne illness, and tens of thousands of people get severe illnesses. And so growing up vertically off the ground is a great way to prevent some of those things. But, you know, for COVID-19, seeing all that produce sitting right out in the grocery store shelves,
yep,
not packaged like it's always been, is a bit crazy right now. Before we get too far into this, I do want to mention one thing, Curt. You know, one of the signs of old age is you forget how much time has gone by. But in your opening statement there, you said a few years ago we started this company. It was actually 14 years ago. Future Growing was founded, and we spent those early years developing the Tower Garden, bringing it to a global market, and getting a lot of national press. I think ABC Nightline and CNN and things like that really helped us take off when no one else was really doing this for the most part. And then we came to the Juice Plus company in 2011. So I've known Curt now for really 10 years, Curt. Yep. So it's more than a few, but again, that's probably a sign of old age for both of us.
At least we're growing old together.
Absolutely. But I think when you're on a fun journey, time goes by very quickly. And, I remember like it was yesterday, you visiting one of our farms in Florida, and you said, my God, how can Atlanta was in a drought at the time. Yep. And you guys were on major water restrictions, and you were like, we've got to get this into Georgia. And, thank you, Curt. You're responsible actually for literally thousands and thousands of tower gardens getting out into people's homes, and several dozen farms getting into Georgia and other parts of the country. So thank you very much for all you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. But, I just admired, I remember when I first met you, you recommended I read a book by Dixon Despommier, Vertical Farming. And, as we think about the supply of our food, we hear a lot on the news about supply chain and how the government's, moving ventilators and masks and things around the world. But I know you were concerned about the supply of our food and that whole dynamic long before this virus outbreak. Can you explain a little bit about maybe what that looks like, and maybe how it's even more significant today than it's ever been?
Absolutely. Our food system is so fragile. A lot of people aren't aware of that. The desert Southwest, where a lot of our fresh cut, leafy greens, lettuce, and herbs are growing, the vegetable basket of Central California. So much of our food comes from those areas, leaves a massive carbon footprint on planet Earth, because we have to store, travel, and ship, all that produce and get it to its destination, and then it's got to stay chilled when you go and pick it up. And they have a water crisis, and while some of the drought restrictions have been lifted, that hasn't changed the water table or Lake Mead, which is still at an all-time low, more or less. Right. And so, and then again, food safety, constantly dealing with food safety issues. So our food supply is very fragile, and it doesn't take much for there to be a hiccup. So right now, literally, for those of us that have been into the grocery stores, the produce shelves have been empty. There's long lines, and people in southern coastal California are waiting an hour, other large cities, just waiting an hour to get into the grocery store to pick up stuff. And, it's mind-boggling to me, because I feel so safe. I feel food sovereign. It's secure to me to know that there is no line here. And the beautiful thing is I don't have to waste produce either. I cut it as I need it, and it's super fresh. So really love that aspect to what we're doing with Tower Garden.
We can't grow toilet paper on there, can we?
Not yet, but it's an idea we're working on.
I hear you. My wife sends me every day, see when the truck came in,
Yeah.
But so as we think about the supply of our food, I think all of us have become, I know we have, more aware. Like, I even got a computer yesterday from China, a new Apple computer. And before I was willing to open the box, I alcoholed the box down. I think we're all paranoid a little bit. But our food is so important. And when I met you 10, 11 years ago, whenever you said that's amazing. It's been that long. I kind of struggled to grow grass at that point in my life. It was like, I wanted the yard to look good, and I had almost figured out how to keep grass green. And all of a sudden, I'm thrown this concept of you can grow your own food. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I'm struggling to grow grass and make my wife happy. My yard looks nice. And all of a sudden, I'm down in Florida, and y'all are making us a fancy salad out of a greenhouse. We're picking our own strawberries. We're picking our own lettuce. And all of a sudden, my eyes got opened up. It's like, yeah, everybody loves that quality of healthy food. But all of a sudden, I believed I could do it. It was not like I don't have to deal with a rototiller and, weeds and stuff. But tell us a little bit about what's your experience at Disney, and you seeing the potential, but you also seeing the need that this wasn't just something people need to buy a ticket for and come see. The average consumer needed something like this.
Absolutely, Curt. Growing up in the Dakotas, I struggled with a backyard garden. The ground was, bending, weeding, tilling, rototilling through rocks, turning a shovel through rocks, pulling enormous weeds out, waiting an entire season to get a head of lettuce or a bunch of kale. That's a lot of work and hundreds of dollars, from a garden center and supplies and equipment rental. And I also saw farmers struggle in the same way in the Dakotas. I don't think there's a harder working group of people out there than the American farmer, right? Sun up to sundown, and they're harvesting through the night with their tractors and lights. And, a drought can affect them. Too much rain can affect them. And I remember being in high school and seeing having our first family vacation out of the state, first time we could afford it, and traveling through that backstage tour at the land, and just being in awe over, wow, controlled environment agriculture, having your plants protected, growing hydroponically, using 98% less water and no harmful pesticide chemicals. And wow, I didn't know this existed. And my favorite greenhouse, of course, was the vertical aeroponic greenhouse, where we did a lot of the research for NASA. That was most inspiring to me, because I knew the future food was up, not out, because our space that people have available to live in just keeps getting limited. Backyards are getting smaller. A lot of people don't have backyards. They barely have like a 10 by 5 deck or balcony or something like that, or a small space indoors to grow. So I was very inspired by what they did. And as you mentioned, just went on to have a 12-year career there. And, one of the things that really caught my attention that kind of stirred in my heart and in my soul of why Jessica and I found a future growing was, when people would look at this display, they would say it's amazing, but Tim, I want to do this on my farm, on my rooftop, in our hospital, in our school, in our own home, in our kitchen. Can you tell us how to do that? And really all we could do is, more pointed to one of the hydroponic books we had out there in the land at Epcot store.
You could show it to them, but you couldn't give it to them.
Exactly. So we got them all fired up and inspired, but they saw the potential. So for me, always being an entrepreneur at heart, I started out that way before I became a corporate person at Walt Disney World. And it just seemed to me it was the right time and the right thing to do. Back in 2005, the green movement was starting to take off. I didn't know that we were heading into a recession, but it turned out that our business was recession proof. We actually grew exponentially during the recession. We didn't shrink like a lot of companies, because during the tough times, people wanted to be in control of their food supply. They wanted to be food sovereign. In some cases, it was for very different reasons than today. But those reasons.
I'm going to interrupt you one second, because you just said something amazingly important. And when people are struggling, like you said, they want to take control of their food. But what I've realized, Tim, and don't lose your train of thought there, but this is super important to me, because like we're going in the grocery stores right now, and I don't really trust who's touched the produce. But one of the things I've noticed, there's a lot of produce. The cereal's gone, the white bread's gone, the milk's gone, the potato chips, the donuts, the candy's gone. And it's a sad thing, but in our country, eating bad is cheaper. But with the Tower Garden, once you get something like this, it might take you a year, because you're gonna replace your grocery bill and you're gonna recover the cost fairly quickly of that unit. But it a very short period of time, your food costs for high quality produce gets down, maybe not to zero when you're buying seeds, but pretty close.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden, good food becomes cheaper than unhealthy food, but our grocery stores force people into the unhealthy because of the cost of the good food.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, I saw a recent post where someone said, for the price of an iPhone, you feed yourself for life. Yeah. And it really is true. I mean, think about this. We have a 24-inch footprint here for these Tower Garden homes, which I can do indoor, year-round. Absolutely love them. Over here, I have my salad tower, and over here, I have my juicing tower. And literally, this feeds a family 4. We have 4 more outside where we do a lot of other veggies and things like that. But vertical growing, kind of going back to where I was, people are what got us inspired to choose Tower Garden and to develop it, take it into the future, make it something that everybody can use, everybody can get their hands on. They're limited on space. So with Tower Garden Home, we can just remove an end table, tuck this into a corner very easily, and grow a ton of produce in a small space. And Curt, to your point, it isn't just a little bit healthier, a little bit better. It's way better for the environment. I mean, every time I cut a head of lettuce off here, by the way, when I cut that head of lettuce, it's going to grow back in a couple of weeks. I can start harvesting leaves within a few days of cutting it back, actually. But every time I cut a head of lettuce off of here, I'm, saving up to 10 gallons of water, the harmful pesticides that might have been sprayed on it, the carbon footprint of that produce being shipped across the country.
It tastes way better too.
It tastes so much better. The USDA says that for fresh cut lettuces, leafy greens, and herbs, from field to table, it's so long, like 2 weeks in a lot of cases, up to 50% of the nutrition is lost. So with soils that are already depleted, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So in this world of COVID-19, to be food sovereign, it's a fun hobby to do at home. I mean, to be able to, I always have said, you've heard me say it, towers are like people. They create a presence in your home. When you get food up off the ground, up to your eye level, it kind of becomes part of you, kind of part of the family. And I'm going to show I'll just use this quick moment to plug an incredible opportunity. We have our first ever national conference for Juice Plus because of this COVID-19. And so we're actually going to be able to touch more people in many ways than we would with a physical conference. And
we're doing it online. It's virtual.
It's virtual. And so Tower Garden's going to have about a half-hour window, and I'm going to be sharing just some extraordinary slides and training and images, the difference between how do you choose outdoor or indoor, Tower Garden Flex, Tower Garden Home, what's the difference? We're going to be covering all of that on there and just giving a lot of great tips. My wife, Jessica's going to be there with me, just saying as a mom, to share how we do this at home as a family, and just, how much fun it is to have foods. I mean, again, it's the way we have lived. We've been married for 15 years. It's the way we've lived for 15 years. Tower Garden's been there since the beginning. And for somebody, it's really, I just look at this COVID-19 as an opportunity for so many people to establish extraordinary businesses with, just empowering people to be, food sovereign. I really look at this is our moment. I think when we come out of COVID-19, I think we're going to look back on this moment and say, planet Earth just got a lot greener. In addition to eating healthy produce, people are learning how to do video talks like this. Hey, I might not need to get into a plane every time.
Right.
This format's really cool. It really works. I don't have to ship my produce from California to Atlanta, 2,500 miles away. This makes a lot more sense. And, I might not be able to do all my food, but I might just start with one tower. I might just start with a lettuce tower, a juicing tower, something, real simple. So I really, history's going to show us, the future's going to unfold, but I think I'm going to be right. I think the whole planet's going to be a lot greener. We're going to develop greener habits coming out of this. And I love that because those greener habits make us all just a little bit safer, make our environment cleaner and better too.
Let me interrupt you one more time. I'm going to play news anchor.
Please.
I've been watching these news shows, and I think I'm going to practice my news anchor skills. Tim, I think some of our viewers have some critical things they'd like to know before we shut down. No, seriously, I do think, just so we can wrap up here, I don't want to leave without asking a couple questions that I think could be important for people that are sequestered right now.
Okay.
So you and I could talk about it, but we don't know how long this is going to last.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we're going to be exiting this sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the habits we've learned are going to stick with us. But I think one of the big questions is, I think, gosh, I'd love to go outside and plant my garden, and so I don't have to go to the grocery store. Maybe you got to get a rototiller. Maybe you don't even have a place in your yard, or you're in a high-rise building and you can't do it. But if somebody says, okay, this tower garden makes sense, is it going to be able to benefit them soon, or are they looking 4 to 6 months out for a harvest?
Well, that would be more like a regular garden, but no, absolutely. So what's really exciting about the tower garden technology, Curt, is over the years, we've developed it, we've improved it, we've expanded it. So to that point, I'll share, we have Tower Garden Flex, which is our larger tower garden. We grow it outside, we can grow taller, we can have a plant cage for tomatoes and different things like that. And so if you have a sunny spot in your backyard or on a balcony or on your rooftop, Tower Garden Flex is perfect for that situation. Back just 6 months ago, we launched Tower Garden Home. This is, same size growing pot, but the base is a little bit smaller. It's a really artistic, beautiful looking unit, and it has these amazing LED lights, which only use 125 watts. So that's equal to 2 can lights in your kitchen or on your ceiling.
Yeah.
And, but we can grow a head of lettuce in 3 weeks. So we have 2 ways to grow food on here, Curt. As you know, you can start your own seeds, or we have seedling providers all around the country that'll literally ship these living seedlings to your doorstep at instant gratification. Yep. They're in. And if you're growing indoors, if you're keeping your house around 70 degrees day and night, and you're using the LEDs here with the Tower Garden Home, from transplant to first harvest, for me personally, is usually about a week. I don't try to grow a whole head of lettuce and wait 3 weeks, which is still pretty quick. Yeah. I'm just going to, literally within a week, I'm going to come in here and cut some of these leaves and just get them onto my salad right away. One of the best ways to keep your tower garden healthy is not to grow like a conventional garden, to keep it cut back. This is about the largest ever I'm going to let my garden grow. And this just, in a 24-inch footprint, Curt, I've got 32 plants here, 16 baby greens and 16 spaces in a larger space. I grow a lot of my larger type of leaf lettuces here. Then up here, I grow all these phytonutrient-rich greens that I throw on top of my salad. And we don't often think of salad as being something nutritious, but the salads that us tower gardeners grow are literally superfoods because we're putting all these highly nutritious things in there. So yeah, instant grata, you're cutting and harvesting quickly. And again, think of it like this, Curt. I always tell people, for guys like Curt Beavers and myself and others, we have a lot of towers because it was, our black thumbs were turned into green thumbs. It was made easy, but just start simple. Start with a salad tower, start with a juicing tower, a smoothie tower. We got kale, chard, arugula, things like that on there, whatever your lifestyle is. And I like those the best too. In this era of COVID-19, Curt, unfortunately, regulation hasn't hit the farmers. And so when I walk into Whole Foods, whatever produce is left, I'm seeing it pulled out of a conventional case, put out open on a shelf, and it's just sitting there. And anyone can, we know that COVID-19 is they found 17 days, it's still active on a surface on a cruise ship. So when people are breathing and stuff over lettuce, I'm not going to cook lettuce. That kind of concerns me a bit. So we really don't want to, I can't take I can scrub a beet or a potato or a carrot or peel it or whatever, but I can't do that to lettuce. So I think for someone who really wants to be we want to start off with all these fresh cut leafy greens, lettuces, and herbs. So lettuce tower, a juicing or smoothie tower, or an urban cooking tower, things like that.
Let me close us with 2 things. One, Tim is an expert. I mean, he developed, the whole tower garden got brought to life because of Tim and what he and Jessica brought to the Juice Plus company. But I'm just a dad. I'm a home-based business person. Love my wife, and we love to eat healthy. But we learned a lot from our first experience with the tower garden. And let me just, for you not to have to go through the learning curve, let me just kind of tell you what we did and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. When we first found out about this, and they basically told us you can grow anything that doesn't grow on a tree and it's not a root that grows in the ground, the tower garden can probably grow it. And that's probably a very accurate statement. I mean, And we tried everything. We've grown a watermelon, we've grown a cantaloupe, we've grown cucumbers, tomatoes, squash, peppers, everything. But what we learned from our first experience, and I will just echo what Tim said, not just because of the coronavirus epidemic that we have going on right now, but what you need to grow is what you're going to eat. Don't get a tower garden and just experiment because it can grow everything. We've learned that we can go to an organic farm and buy a watermelon a whole lot easier than it is to grow a watermelon on the tower garden, although we've done it. So my family, we love salads, just like look at what Tim's got in the background. We make smoothies every day. So grow what you're going to eat, and your family will benefit tremendously from healthier foods. And we really would love for you to partner with the Tower Garden by Juice Plus so that we could help you have a healthier home during this season. And there's really one way. We don't sell these in stores, which is a good thing right now because the store will probably be closed. We don't sell them in stores. They're all drop ship direct to our customers from our amazing warehouse and our amazing distribution center. Those people, while we're working at home, we've created a great environment for them to work in, and they're there making sure we've got plenty of inventory to get these out into people's homes. But what you need to do is you need to get back to the partner with our company that shared this video with you. And they can figure out exactly what you want. They can help you get the seeds, the seedlings. So you and your family, like Tim said, realistically, small salads you can be consuming within a week. 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to have plenty of food. You can harvest off some things as many as 8 times if you learn to trim them right. And we have videos to teach you how to do that. This is a game changer, guys. And right now, that old verse in scripture from Esther that says, for such a time as this, it almost feels like the Tower Garden was created for such a time as this because we need these in our homes. Tim, thanks so much.
You're welcome, Curt. Thank you. And, this is our moment to rise to a challenge, to look at every challenge creates incredible opportunity, and for people to not only provide food for their family, but to buy machines that provide food for other families. And we have got to get this out there. And I know this whole COVID experience has really impacted our sales in just exponential ways. And I just want to leave with this, Curt, just to show, here I just snapped.
Did you just make it funny? You're going to leave us with this?
Yeah, this is a beautiful leaf, and just look at that. You can smell it. It has smell. It has nutrition. No harmful pesticides. And only I've touched it, and fortunately, I don't have the COVID-19. So just wanted to share how beautiful that leaf looks.
Thanks, Tim. Hey, guys, we hope you enjoyed this, and get back with a partner with our company that shared this with you, and they'll help you get exactly what you want to have a healthier home. Thanks. Be safe.